Hey, what's going on, everybody? My name is Mundane Matt, and welcome back to $3 Theater. Today is Friday, I believe, January 20th, 2017, Inauguration Day, if you happen to be so politically inclined, but we're not going to talk about anything revolving around that here. This is all movies, 100% movies. Some good stories today, like a new Terminator movie apparently on the horizon. DC has a short list for who it wants to play in the Green Lantern Corps, with one name that is fucking surprising to me. We got information about the new Black Adam movie and a couple other things that right now I can't really fucking remember what they are. So you got to stick around to find out. So anyway, my name is Mundane Matt. Keep watching for more movie news here on $3 Theater. All right, guys, first up today, I want to address a rumor that's been going around because clearly rumors are true. Sometimes we hope they are, sometimes we don't. But this one's all about Harry Potter. Now, I love the franchise and I'd love to go back into the actual Harry Potter world. Not so much Fantastic Beasts, but I will touch upon that here in a second. But the rumor going on today was that J.K. Rowling and Warner Brothers were in talks to adapt Harry Potter and the Cursed Child into a new trilogy of films. And I don't know about you, but that's a cool fucking idea. Now, Harry Potter and the Cursed Child is a book that fans have been relatively divided on. Some really like it, some not so much, simply because the story is just not what they expected, and also it was released as a screenplay or a stage play, and not a narrative telling of it, and that has kind of turned off a lot of fans who don't read scripts. I've read thousands of scripts, so that was no problem. I haven't finished it yet, so I don't know, spoilers in the comments, please. But that being said, J.K. Rowling chimed in and just said on Twitter, this is not true. Of course, if there anything was going on with Harry Potter, she would want to probably announce it herself, and she probably isn't going to actually talk about the potential for the future of the character that made her a billionaire. But let's actually talk about this for a second, because I don't think this is entirely out of the question. And here's why. So Fantastic Beasts and Where to Find Them is supposedly going to be a septuple. I don't know what the term is. It's 5 films. All right, not a quadrilogy, a septuple. It just sounds horrible to say out loud. But we know that it's supposed to be 5 movies, and the Fantastic Beasts and Where to Find Them is part 1 of 5. And of course, as the story progresses, it's going to be more about the wizarding world turning against or fighting Grindelwald and setting Albus Dumbledore up to take over being the headmaster of Hogwarts, and of course, probably introducing Tom Morvillo Riddle somewhere down the line. That is what they're going for. I mean, shit, even Newt Scamander isn't going to be in every one of the movies. And I did hear a rumor that that fans have been pushing, or there's been some talks about trying to get Jared Harris, who is the son of Richard Harris, who played Dumbledore in the first 2 movies, to play young Dumbledore. And I am on board with that. I'm talking like fucking just stiffy for that one. I love Jared Harris as an actor. So yes, please make that happen. But once that's over, what's next for Harry Potter? Because there's no way that they're not going to find another way to go back to the franchise. And turning the next few, the Order of, the Cursed Child and turning that into a trilogy of sorts is probably the best course of action. Daniel Radcliffe himself has said that he would come back to the role if it was good enough, and I'm sure Rupert Grint and Emma Watson would do the same thing. Emma Watson has failed to connect with anything huge since leaving Harry Potter. I mean, she's got Beauty and the Beast coming up here pretty soon, but other than that, really not so much. She did some artsy fartsy films. Didn't really launch with anybody. She tried doing the whole he for she thing at their UN, and that was laughed off the goddamn internet. Rupert Grint, on the other hand, working on the Snatch adaptation for Crackle. I'm sure he would come back to play Ron Weasley again. And all of these other characters people would probably come back. So even though this is a rumor, and according to J.K. Rowling, it's not true, part of me thinks it's got more weight than not, because Warner Brothers is in dire need of some wins. Fantastic Beasts and Where to Find Them did well, but probably not as well as Warner's hoped, given the success of the Harry Potter franchise. Yeah, but see, that's in part due to the fact that the movie was entertaining, but it really wasn't that great. And that was a lot to do with the script that J.K. Rowling wrote herself. So yes, I do put the failure, kind of Fantastic Beasts, a fair amount of it on her shoulder, because she kind of was given carte blanche to do what she wanted. And as a result of it, the movie kind of felt forced in a few scenes. Stuff didn't make a lot of sense. There wasn't a great deal of plot there. And it just kind of like ended. And you're like, oh, okay, oh, all right. Maybe the next movie will tell me more. This kind of eased us back into it. It dipped our toe in the proverbial warm water, if you will. And I'm definitely excited to go back, and I'll be there day one to see the next one as well, because I happen to be a Harry Potter nut. But that's what I think is going to happen. All right, jumping over into DC news. This is a story that broke yesterday, and it was on the lineup for yesterday's show. And then I totally forgot to record it, and I didn't even catch it until like as I was exporting the video. So today, but anyway, we know that The Rock has been very heavily pushing DC lately. Right. He's posted photos on his Instagram of him in front of DC logos, him talking about bringing hope and optimism and fun back to the DC world, all while getting ready to play Shazam's villain, Black Adam. Right. So that's kind of funny that he's getting ready to play a villain, and he's all like, we're going to bring a lot of fun. It's going to bring a lot of hope. It's going to bring, can you smell what DC is cooking type shit. Right. But that being said, they just announced that Black Adam is getting his own standalone movie. And that is extremely interesting, that they would want to give a villain his own film. Marvel hasn't done that yet, although all of us out there who are fans of the Marvel Cinematic Universe have been like, a Loki movie when, motherfuckers? All right, I would watch that in a fucking heartbeat. Give me a Red Skull movie even, because Hugo Weaving as him was, I loved it. But the point is that he's getting his own film as Black Adam, and he's also going to be in the Shazam movie. So they're setting up kind of a tentpole around The Rock. And if you're asking yourself, why in the fuck is that happening? The answer is extremely simple. The Rock is probably the most profitable action hero right now in Hollywood. And in 2008, when he signed up to work on some of these movies, with DC, when he signed on to take over a role, he wasn't as big as he was. Now he is huge. Although, to be fair, not everything he does great unless he has the right co-star. If you remember 2014's Hercules, you probably don't because you didn't see it. No one did, and wasn't very good. That was a movie he had trained for months for, and he had worked for months for, and like he was set to make this thing a huge movie. And you could tell it kind of bruised his ego a little bit when it failed to connect. Very similar to Will Smith and After Earth, M. Night Shyamalan Ding Dong's crappy ass film from 2013 that none of you saw, and with good reason. It was crap. But yeah, so The Rock can carry a movie, but he has to have a good lineup with him. One of the reasons why The Rock works so well in the Fast and the Furious franchise is because he is not the singular cog. He's not the main one. He's part of a machine. Yes, it revolves around Vin Diesel, but everyone plays their part and they do it well. And I think that's what's going on with this. Now, also, given how the DC movies have been received thus far, out of the three that we've seen, the grim, dark, not necessarily the most lighthearted movies out there, Rock wants to bring a whole bunch of like fun and joy to these films. And I think the dude can do it with his flair for the dramatic, with being in the WWE and everything with the Rock character. I think he'll be able to bring that to Shazam, but he won't be able to do it alone. He'll have to very much have a good director, one that works well with that particular part of his mentality and can also bring the action. And to that, I actually have a fucking recommendation. Peter Berg. Seriously, Peter Berg. Go back and watch 2003's The Rundown. Just go back and watch that shit. Tell me that was not, for one, excellently crafted for its action sequences, hysterical as fuck to watch, Sean William Scott and The Rock bouncing off one another, and just the whole movie itself really flowed really well, and it was a lot of fun to watch. And look, you may disagree with me on this one, but also, if you can, go watch Battleship. Peter Berg's 2012 summer blockbuster that failed to connect. That movie is a lot better than people give it credit for. It's one of the ones Yeah, it's good. I like it. I like it. You may not. I enjoyed the fuck out of it. That's just me. It felt like a Transformers movie without Michael Bay, and that made it a lot better. But no, seriously, I think that if they're going to do it, you have to get the right director. You have to get a person who can work with what The Rock brings to the table. Justin Lin would also be a good choice for this. So Warner's, if you're listening, which you're not, but if you are, take that into consideration. You have to pick the right person to surround The Rock with, because that's how he bounces off of people. He is not a singular starring person. He does well in an ensemble, and I think that would work well for this whole thing. Okay, so once again, talking about DC news, this is weird. And this is Warner's, in my opinion, getting desperate, if this is to be believed. Okay, so The Wrap is reporting that the shortlist for who will play Hal Jordan in the upcoming Green Lantern Corps film is boiling down to a few people. That would be Tom Cruise, Joe McHale, Bradley Cooper, Arnie Hammer, Jake Gyllenhaal, and Ryan fucking Reynolds. Just let that one sink in for a second, right? So Tom Cruise, a little too old to play Hal Jordan, in my opinion. Joel McHale, I think, could work, but I don't know how well leading man material does well for him. Bradley Cooper, I don't know if Disney would let that happen. Yes, he's the voice of Rocket Raccoon, but I don't think that would happen. Arnie Hammer, he was set to play Batman back during George Miller's Justice League days. And Jake Gyllenhaal, who I don't know if Gyllenhaal could pull it off. Gyllenhaal, I like him, but I think this is like, it's too mainstream for him. You know what I mean? Like, he tried Prince of Persia. He wasn't very good. You know, like, I don't know. Again, right director in there. But Reynolds, I thought, did a good job as Hal Jordan in the 2011 movie. I didn't hate that movie. All right, not as much as a lot of people did. I also didn't see it in theaters. I waited to home video. I got the extended cut, and I was like, oh, this was genuinely entertaining in a few places, and it wasn't as bad as everyone made it out to be, but I can see why it tanked. And it was like a $300 million loss for Warner Brothers. Why they're going back to it now is a little bit weird, but at the same time, Green Lantern was a really poor move on Warner Brothers' part. It really was, because this was coming out between Dark Knight and The Dark Knight Rises. Everyone wanted that grim, dark Batman style of things. Here comes Martin Campbell's film, Ryan Reynolds in a neon green animated suit. There were some good elements about it, but it just failed to connect. And as a result, it tanked anything other than Batman and Superman for quite some time. I mean, it's been 5 years. And people still have a sour taste in their mouth over Green Lantern. So them wanting to bring Ryan Reynolds back into the Green Lantern Corps, to me, screams desperation. It, to me, out of everyone on that list, he right now is the most bankable person outside of Tom Cruise. But Tom Cruise is still doing Mission Impossible 6. He's also doing The Mummy, and The Mummy is going to be part of a larger Universal Monsters universe situation going on. I don't know, the Universal might have changed that plan, but the last I heard, that was that. And as a result, like, he's kind of locked in. Plus, I'm sure he would want to do another Jack Reacher, provided they're able to get enough money and keep the budget low enough, and everything else. So I don't think Tom Cruise is necessarily wanting to, I don't see him doing this. I could be wrong. I just don't see him doing this. Besides, he would want to come in and Tom Cruise it up, which is not a bad thing. All right. Like when you, sometimes that works out, and it's like, what was it? Edge of Tomorrow blew me away for how good it was. Just blew my mind away for how good that movie was. And Tom Cruise was excellent in the role. So I'm not against Tom Cruise being in a movie like this. I just don't see him working in an ensemble very well, because he's not an ensemble player. He is a key player. Joel McHale could do ensemble based on Community. Bradley Cooper ensemble with Hangover movies. Arnie Hammer, hasn't really been fully explained yet. Gyllenhaal again could do ensemble, but it would be a little difficult. And Reynolds could do ensemble, but he also is very much leading man status. Now, if Reynolds goes over and entertains this, it would be kind of a subtle fuck you to Fox to give him more power and more control over Deadpool. Because while Green Lantern was like a $300 million loss for Warner Brothers, Deadpool made nearly $800 million off of a $50 million budget. And so it So it's like he's in a complete position of power right now. He's in a complete position of power, and he can do whatever the fuck he wants. And so if I was Ryan Reynolds, I would I'd put the word out there. Yeah, I took some meetings with took some meetings with Warner Brothers and whatnot. They want me to work on Hal Jordan again. Like, what you got, Fox? And Fox is like, Deadpool 25. And everything else. So, they'll be like, Deadpool fucking Wolverine movie. We'll get Hugh Jackman back and shit, right? Like, I could see, like, that whole thing. So, we'll have to wait to see what happens here. So far, the casting process is still in early stages, and there's no talks with any of the actors as of yet. DC is considering Reynolds, but again, we'll have to wait to see what happens. But honestly, pick Bradley Cooper. If you can get anyone, get Bradley Cooper. I think he would have enough arrogance to really kind of bring Hal Jordan to more of a meatier character. Joel McHale would be a second choice out of that, just because he can do snarky and comical. But you also, I don't know, I do also like Armie Hammer quite a bit. I liked him as Lone Ranger, surprisingly. And I think he might be able to pull off that kind of stoic superhero type. But it really depends on what kind of person you're going for. Ryan Reynolds really is the kind of the all roundabout character here, the roundabout actor who could do it all. But you're probably not going to get him unless you give him a lot of money, because he fought long and hard for Deadpool. He is not about to fuck over the fans, not about to walk away for, I think, any amount of money. He's in a very happy place. Every time I see him in an interview, he's very much happy. So I don't think he's going to fucking quit. And finally today, guys, back in 1984, when Arnold Schwarzenegger first uttered the term, "I'll be back." That was a horrible, horrible impersonation. It turns out he wasn't wrong. Terminator 2, Terminator 3, Terminator Genesis, kinda. No, Terminator Genesis, definitely. Terminator Salvation, kind of. But it turns out that he might be back one more time. One more time to kind of put the cap on the Terminator franchise once and for all. Because they don't really know how to end it. I think we know that at this point. Like, they've never been able to figure out how to properly end the franchise. Because they don't want to. They want to continue making money at it. But as a result, they keep rebooting it, changing things, altering things, and it just fails to connect with audiences. But on the bright side, it will be going back into control, or into the hands, really, of James Cameron in 2019. And he is currently in talks with Tim Miller, Deadpool's Tim Miller, and his company, to direct and handle the VFX on the film. Not much more information is known about that. That's really about it. But to me, that is really cool. Tim Miller has proven himself as a very astute visual director. Deadpool was not only visually good to look at for the budget, but it had a lot of great comedic timing and a lot of great moments, and the whole thing was just fantastic. And Miller's company did do the special effects on it, so that did add a lot to it. But we don't quite know what's happening with it yet. All we know is that basically James Cameron would produce, because right now he is balls deep in the Avatar movies, if we ever actually see those. I just have a feeling every year they're going to keep getting pushed back and pushed back. Because I think, like, was it last month or something was supposed to be like Avatar 2, and now it's like 2018. I got no fucking idea when those movies are coming out. And honestly, the further away we get from 2009, the less and less and less I care, which is sad, because I really did enjoy the movie when I first saw it. Graphically speaking, it was a wonderful thing. Story-wise, it was simple. Pocahontas in space, not horrible. But anyway, what we know now is it's just going to direct, Tim Miller is just going to direct a reboot and conclusion. So in Terminator Genesis, which I thought was not a horrible movie, it wasn't the best thing ever, but it wasn't a horrible movie. It did set up some very interesting themes. And I thought that they were going to go and explore it for a trilogy, because it was supposed to be 2015, 2017, 2019 were going to be the respective release dates. Because the people who bought the rights to the franchise back in 2011, they knew that it was going to expire in 2019. It was going to go back to James Cameron. And so they were trying to get a couple movies out of it in order to make some money. And I don't blame them at all. It just really failed to connect with the audiences. And I think part of that, in essence, was also the marketing. I think the marketing to that movie very much showed us the twist with John Connor being an android, or being a Terminator and everything. I just think it gave away too much, which can happen in some cases when people don't review their marketing material before it really goes out, and it's really annoying to watch it happen more and more and more. But that's what I think went down. See, for me, when I saw Terminator Genesis, I avoided all trailers. I avoided all advertisements for the movie. And when I went in, I was completely fucking blind to everything going on with the movie. And I think that might be why I enjoyed it more than someone who had seen the trailer going in. I think Star Wars Rogue One, right? You watch the trailer, like 50% of what's in the trailer isn't even in the movie because they did so many reshoots and the trailer used so much stuff that wasn't used at all. And so to people going into it or coming out, they were kind of confused because what they had expected to see wasn't there. Or you get to, let's say, X-Men Apocalypse, which shows us the final scene in the movie, like the final shot in the movie in the trailer with bald McAvoy's Professor X and the door shutting. That was the final scene in the movie. And they showed it to us in the preview. And I think that might have had an impact in the overall film itself. Again, that's an out there theory, but I do think marketing, how it's handled, very much impacts the movie itself. See, Deadpool, for example, I gobbled, right, the fucking marketing for that movie. I was just like, oh God, down in deep, right? And when that happened, when I saw the movie, I felt like I had seen so much of it because I'd watched the trailer so many times. My first time watching it, it wasn't as enjoyable to me. I still loved it, but I wasn't like wanting to hump it, you know? But then I went back about a week later and I watched it again with my girlfriend, and she hadn't seen it or really any of the marketing. And I found a new love for the movie and noticed a lot of little things I'd missed before, and I thought that it was a lot better the second time around, which is one of the reasons why I do tell people, if you're having trouble getting into a film, definitely look into the prospect of seeing it again. You might not be in the right headspace at the time, and that can have an impact. And sometimes marketing puts us in that particular place. So it's something to keep in mind of. But anyway, I'm going way off topic here for a fucking Terminator thing. I'm curious to see what happens. I would prefer it, if you want my honest opinion, for James Cameron to take it to television, a la Sarah Connor Chronicles, but have it adapted for something like, let's say, HBO or FX or something. Tell the story of the Terminator returning, saving Sarah Connor, and then maybe tell it like one season per movie or something, right? So it's like first season, Kyle Reese, Terminator. Second season, John Connor, Terminator. Third season, John Connor maybe moving into the Resistance and fighting back against the androids. Go through it slowly and methodically. That's the thing now. Go to fucking Netflix. Go to Netflix. Go to Amazon, go do something, right? Go to a streaming service where that kind of shit can be fucking really explored without having the fucking constraints of network television and their shitty ass standards and practices division. Do that. That's what I want now. I'd rather have that than another movie, because at least then we might be able to get told a coherent story from start to finish with the same people behind the camera. So then it feels the same and it's not constantly jumping around. Because honestly, when you have different fucking parts of the movies and the trilogies from different decades. Think about it, 1984, 1992, 2003 for Terminator 1, 2, and 3. It's a long fucking time, right? And things change in that time period. People get older. I mean, at least Genesis explained it, you know. I don't know. I'm going off topic here. I apologize. That's what I want to see. Go to Netflix. Anyway, yeah. But hey, more, look, this is the kind of, so I'm not completely negative here at the end. More Terminator is a good thing. I love Terminator. I'd love to see more with it. Just do it in the right way. All right, gang, that wraps up this episode of $3 Theater. My name is Mundane Matt. Thank you so much for getting through to the end of it. This is a show I love doing every day. I get to just rant about movies or rave about movies and shit. I have a lot of fun. Anyway, I'll see you guys on the next episode of $3 Theater. Be sure to like, comment, rate, subscribe, all that kind of stuff. And I'll see you later. Have a good one.